Hello. Okay, this is just a little video. I've been going with Lee doing the how to become a natural person, but I don't think people even understand where that comes from or what that means. So this video, we're just going to go over the Declaration of Independence. Now, before I do that, I'm just planting seeds. So everything comes back to language. Well, let me give you an example. About 12,000, 14,000 years ago, there were the Etruscan system. Well, the Yehuda, is it Yehudi? The Yehudi dispersa or diaspora, I don't know, I don't have that in front of me. They came and committed genocide on the Etruscans. And they took their language, their alphabet, their symbols, the language they used. Now, when the Yehudi diaspora came, that was like 8,000 years after the Etruscans were already here. Now, the Yehudi diaspora, we'll say, basically is Greek. So when they changed the language, they actually literally flipped all the letters or symbols backwards and upside down. Backwards and upside down. Then and that, remember, was called Greek. Then in 1118, the Anglo-Saxons came, and that's how we have English, and we speak that to this day. So it's all about wording. Most people that really understand this stuff, or like Santos, Bonacci, and Lee, who I'm with, and many others, they know phonics. 11 is really good with explaining phonics. Now, phonics is because it was the Sumerian text, then it was the Phoenicians, then from the Phoenicians, it broke off to Greek and ancient Egypt, and then from Greek came Latin. From Greek, Latin came from Greek, and then ancient Egypt went to Hebrew language, and then so on and so on. So anyway, whoops, hold on one second. Did I hit that? The point of this video, we're going to go over the actual Declaration of Independence. So let's see if I can do this right. We'll go here. Let's see. I don't want that one, but these are fun facts. Now, before we start the Declaration of Independence, since this one is up, fascinating facts about the Declaration of Independence. There is something written on the back of the Declaration of Independence, but it isn't a secret map or code. Instead, there are a few handwritten words that say Original Declaration of Independence / dated 4th July 1776. No one knows who wrote this, but it was probably added as a label when the document was rolled up for storage many years ago. So anyway, I'll post a link to this and you can go through all that. That's not what I'm doing right now. We'll read this one because it's pretty. Now, this is the Declaration of Independence in Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. Look how that's wrote. That doesn't look like our United States, all caps, that we have now. And you see this word? It used to be the United States of America. But since 1871, it's the United States for America. Come on, people. We're going to have to start putting 2 and 2 together. So let's just read this. When in the course of human events, let me take this off. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Right there. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. You see this right here? We'll come back to that. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. So it's God, then men, because we're made in his image, woman, man, whatever, same thing. And then under us, so we're really all kings and queens. We are made in his image. Then under man would be government, saying right here. And under government would be law. But what we use now is color of law. So let's see what that word means real quick. Color of law. What's this say? The appearance of a legal right. The appearance of a legal right. The act of a state officer, regardless of whether or not the act is within the limits of his or her authority, is considered an act under color of law if the officer purports to be conducting himself or herself in the course of official duties. Under the Civil Rights Act of 1871. You see now? This is really easy stuff to find. I'm finding it. So let's finish this because I have like 3 videos I have to put up today because Lee has a lot of information to put out. So where were we at? Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That whether, okay, we'll just start here. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariable the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. What is that? Despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. And now remember, we're talking about the 13 colonies, but we also know at this time, Roman law is who these 13 colonies were ran by. It wasn't like people were just running around with no law or governed. The Romans were governing at this time. And such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former system of government. The history of the present king of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his what is it? I can't even see the screen. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the rights of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to triumph only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from dispository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount payment of their. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out of their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has a military independent of the superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment from any murderers which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislators and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coast, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is this time transporting large armies and foreign mercenaries to complete the work of death, dissolution, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of the civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is this marked by every act which may define a giant is unfit to be the ruler of free people. Now, nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren, We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislator to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and the consanguinity. We must therefore accuse and the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of the mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all alliance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives and for our fortunes and our sacred honor. The 56 signatures of the declaration appear in the positions indicated. And then it just shows column 1, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Massachusetts, whoops. What the heck? Massachusetts, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania. Why does it keep doing that? New Hampshire. Anyway, you see. So, I just wanted to at least go over the Declaration of Independence to let people know that now we're under a government of the United States that is made up of, what is it? I think 185,000 different corporations. This is a corporation nation. That's a website you can go on and see that stuff. It's called corporationnation.com, I'm pretty sure. And CAFRA, CAFR1.com. You can look on there too as well and see. But we have God-given rights, not unalien rights. Oh, did I even show you what that word meant? I don't even know what I'm doing here. Is that it? No. I don't know what's going on here today. Is this it? This is a good one to look to when you want to see what an alien is, because remember, we have God-given rights, not unalienable rights. See, this is not the one I wanted. Pretty sure it's the one that's not pulling up as the one I want, because this isn't that the story of my life. And it is. So anyway, I can't pull up the one I'm trying to do. But the unalienable rights that are mentioned in the Declaration of Independence could just as well have been inalienable, which means the same thing. Inalienable or unalienable refers to that which cannot be given away or taken away. Here is a listing of known versions of the Declaration showing which word is used. So you can go through here and see. But anyway, it's just a whole bunch of BS. I just wanted to at least go through the Declaration of Independence because I never really ever read through it. I don't know why this is acting like this. But I went through like 3 different ones. And they're all the same, and we obviously don't live by this anymore. So anyway, I'm about to get off of here because I have to post a video. Lee's doing step 2, part 2, which I hope people really do take time. Let me get out of here. Okay, I'm back. I hope people actually do take time and soak up the information that he's sharing. This information that he shared to be a natural person's, it works. I posted on my Facebook. You can see people that have done it. He just cashed in $1,000 promissory note. He's been doing this stuff. He's in the process of suing the electric company. You can do all this stuff. It's just all about what you know and about wording and how you know. So if you knew it came from the Etruscan system about 14,000 years ago, and then as you know, it went to Greek, and then it went to English in 1118 is what I want to say, but don't quote me. And if you know when it switched from Etruscan to Greek, you know it was backwards and upside down, all symbols, all everything. So I just want to actually go through the Declaration of Independence just to put some kind of foundation out there. And I hate that I have to do this live because I make so many mistakes that I could at least go back in and correct it. But I just want to put the declaration, and I posted the link so you can actually see it and maybe read it yourselves and share it with your family. So maybe you guys can wake up and everybody will want to be natural persons and have your own rights and understand that it's God, then it's man, and we're made in his image. That's, my daughter asked me a couple days ago, what's the whole point of all this? The GMO food, the whole point of all of this. But you know what? All this stuff, the Rothschilds and all those things, all that, the whole, really everyone that's running it, they're running it, but there's people behind them. There's people behind them. And I'm not going to name anything because I don't want this to turn into a whole race thing. I just want you guys to know how to do natural persons and be natural people. But it gets really deep. And this is a long, really, like, serious. You're going down a lot of rabbit holes. You're watching a lot of videos, and if it's meant for you, you'll see it and you'll understand it and you'll comprehend it. Trust me. That's how my journey has. But I have so many things because I just seen this video yesterday, and I can't wait to get Lee on here, but he doesn't like to do all the side talk, but I feel like general conversation will benefit so many about just everything. It's just what the word obligation even means. Ob, an obligation, means hidden. What else means hidden? Occult. That's the same word. It's all about words, and it's right hidden in plain sight. So it's just, and legate, what does that mean? Holy Roman Emperor, empirical order, bearing mark to protect. Assassins from Rome, bearing mark and seal of whatever king is ruler of the time. So I guess here you have to at least go through the Act of 1871 and understand that that's what it's all about. The Act of 1871, the Constitution of the United States, is not the same Constitution that it was when it was we the people. Remember, it was United States of America. Now it's United States for America. So you really just need to, if you're going to read anything, read up on the Act of 1871, Amendment 13, 14, and 15, and just read the wording. Go to Black Law Dictionary, read what persons is. I think we did that in the introduction video. Persons, citizen, these are words you need to know. Law, which everybody wants to follow. You know what law is in the Western Hemisphere? Let's see what law is. It says, let me see what time it is because I have to go. It says law in the Western half, which now it's all, of the hemisphere, or lex lares, if you heard of that, another Greek phrase, means tales, legends, myths, fables of deified gods, Greek gods. This is what we're under. There is no law in the Western Hemisphere. So it's all about wording. It's all about wording. But I can't wait till I can get him on here. So that was it. I just want to talk about the Declaration of Independence. Be back later.